Somehow, years have passed and Legendary Dimitri's Refine and Remix is less than a month away. But there is no way I could do a refined tier list without FadeTube's other massive Dimitri fan, Fehology.
Hey guys, I am so excited to be here. I cannot wait for this. I'm praying that we don't have another Sothis and that we have another Seliph, and there's so much in between. I mean, all right, we can do this. We can do this. Deep breaths.
Oh man, that's a scary thought. If they pull a Sothis, I would cry. I would cry so hard. But I'm really hoping, like, Dimitri has a good start. So they just have to give him a little bit of love, and I think he can perform pretty well.
It really doesn't take much. And there are different directions they can take. Like, there are options here. So we'll see. There's hope. But hope is a dangerous thing.
Okay, let's start off. We're going to go over his weapon and his preference B skill really quickly, just so everybody knows what we're dealing with here. So we have his preference weapon, area bar. What this essentially is slaying, plus 5 to all stats, and then speed-based damage reduction up to 40%. This used to be really, really good, but nowadays it's like kind of underpowered, like even compared to some of the arcane weapons. So I definitely hope that they kind of push this up a little bit, right?
Oh, definitely. We need all the things on this. All the things. He needs to be like the Omni Omega tank / Gale Force unit that just destroys everything with extra movement. Oh my gosh,
yes. It's definitely something we'll be talking about. The other one is his preference B skill. So we have Atrocity, and what this essentially does is if his foe's HP is greater than 50%, he's gonna get 25% true damage based off his attack. And then he also gets this really weird effect where he has like a Omni Smoke after combat, where it's attack, speed, defense, and res -5, but also the pulse smoke. So it can be pretty strong, but it's also just like the weirdest B skill ever because it's like half A skill and half C skill. I don't know what they were thinking with this one, but that's what we were working with right now.
All right, for those of you who don't know, this is one of the worst designed B skills ever. You look at it and you're like, this is fantastic. And then you realize they set him up as a Gale Force unit and then made the B skill contingent upon the other unit having over 25% or over 50% HP.
Right.
What? How? Why? Why would you do that?
It's also just weird because like the B skill is typically like the thing that like enables you, right? Like you have no follow-up, you have damage reduction, all that kind of stuff in the B slot, but instead he has like damage and then like support effects. And it's like, okay, what the heck are they doing here? So I'm a bit nervous about this. I really hope they just like push it to like 12 with this one on the remix, and it just is ridiculous, but we'll have to wait and see.
This has a lot of potential though. I mean, there are people that keep this skill on him and then just put a Brave Lance. And he still does fantastic.
Exactly. Another thing I did want to bring up is that both me and Joel are like plus 10 Legendary Dimitri users. We both used him to get to like rank 1 in SDR, I'm pretty sure. I think you did it the week before me, you did some like crazy strat, and then I did like a raid boss with Legendary Dimitri. So we are like very invested into this. Are you ready, Joel? We're gonna start off with a crazy one. So
all right.
Let's say, what if they made Atrocity true to 3 houses and they gave it effective damage? Effective damage against everything. Where would you put just straight up effective against everything? We're going legendary Shez status here.
Okay, it's tough because effective damage alone isn't as good as it used to be, but it's still really good. Like there are things that this is a thing that combines well with other stuff.
Right, exactly.
And I mean, for me, it's probably an S tier. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking like the bottom of S+, which sounds crazy. Like it's kind of insane that Power Creep has gotten that far where effective damage against everything is only like really good. It's not like completely stupid. But you know, we live in a wind-clawed world now, so you have to kind of measure things based off of him.
I could be talked into the bottom of S+. Like it's right there. Like
okay.
It's yeah.
Let's put it at the top of S for now, and then we'll see if it moves up a little bit in a second. Okay. Let's start off with, okay, let's do a interesting one, but not like really ridiculous. Let's talk about movement, right? Because we have Fallen Dimitri, and Fallen Dimitri is a really cool unit. I just think that his weapon sucks, but the extra movement and like the not being able to counterattack and the Canto, all that stuff's really cool. So what do you think of them taking Legendary Dimitri and kind of moving in a more aggressive stance with the movement?
Movement on a melee infantry unit is good, but I'm just thinking about all of the, like, think about Wind Kagero and the fact that extra movement for her gives her that extra range spot and then an extra, like, that's the kind of movement you almost have to be bonkers right now. I'm feeling A tier. I might be able to be talked into B tier though. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking B tier actually, because like you said, like even when it comes to calves, right? Like that would only put Dimitri at 3 movement, and 3 movement calves are not that good anymore, which is crazy to say. They have to have something special to be a 3 movement calf that really stands out. And I think that like one of the best examples of that is Brave Crom, right? Brave Crom versus Brave Erica even, right? Him having that to change fate is what gives him the ability to keep going. You really need 4 movement like with like Brave Seliph or Summer Ephraim or Tiara or whatever else, right?
Well, think about warping. I mean, even warping can give you more movement than 3. I mean, it's just nuts.
Right. We kind of live in a guidance world, and so I think it's like a B, like maybe high B. That's probably where I'd put it at.
All right, let's go high B. I like it.
Okay, perfect. It would be interesting though. I would like to see a really offensive Dimitri. Okay, let's do another one. This one's kind of more boring, but how do you feel about them just improving his speed-based damage reduction in his weapon? Because I think we did have another unit who had that. I can't remember who it was, but they did not get their speed-based damage reduction improved. So I'm kind of scared that they don't give him like the tier 4 version of a speed-based damage reduction skill.
This is another one that you have to pair it with something, and without crazy boost to his speed, this is kind of worthless. And so you have to have those 2 things combined, and there are so many other ways to get damage reduction now. I mean, you even have Rock Slide, the dance skill. Yeah. Anyway,
that's true.
To me, this feels like a B. How are you feeling about it?
Yeah, it's kind of feel like maybe even like a lower B. Like maybe, I don't know, like around there maybe. It's not as good as it used to be, which is just nuts. Like we just keep getting like more and more crazy effects, and so like I think this is good. Like it's one of the things you want, but you need to combine it with like either flat damage reduction or like a way to like loop godlike reflexes if you want to go that tank route. Other than that, it's just the phantom speed's okay. Like it can help out a little bit too, but it's not the best effect. Okay, let's talk about changing atrocity a little bit. So right now atrocity is -5 to all stats, right? When it has the stats. What if they upgraded atrocity so it has all the versions of the tier 4 smokes? So after combat, you would get foe cannot make a follow-up attack. You would get speed-based damage reduction. You would get Pathfinder. I think that's all of them. Because there's no post smoke. Yeah,
why do I get this feeling like this is the Price is Right? You know, you're showing me one thing, and then there might be something better behind the other door. But look at how tantalizing! This one is really tantalizing. Like you want Omni tier 4 smoke.
Yes.
Oh man, I kind of love that. Like I don't effective damage love it, but I'm torn here between top of A and bottom of S. Like I think I'm leaning towards bottom of S. But how are you feeling about it?
I think bottom of S is pretty cool because like it's a more interesting effect than just doing something basic. Like here's no follow up. Like you actually get something unique to Dimitri, which would be cool. And getting all the effects of the smokes could be cool too, especially if they include the tier 4 version of the pulse smoke, which we don't know what that would be at the moment. But if they added that too, that would be nuts. I'm not even sure what that could be. Like maybe it puts guard on them. I don't know.
I don't know. That sounds ridiculous and fun though. I'm here for it.
Okay, let's put it over at S somewhere. Okay, another thing we can talk about is smokes. This one's a kind of more iffy. I'm not sure exactly, but what if they made it so that the smokes applied before combat? So before combat, you put -5 or whatever all stats on people, and you post smoke them before combat. So you could turn off like pre-charge specials. You could also just make their combat weaker. It does make them a little bit more vulnerable to like Legendary Robin. So it kind of comes with both sides.
My problem here is they would definitely tie that to a stat check. And that worries me. I'm not seeing them. Like, would you tie that to attack or speed? Because those are his only 2 stats, right?
Right.
Certainly not res. That would be. Or what if it was if the opponent had greater res than him?
Oh gosh. That's like that sounds like a Ray effect or something, where it's like his attack is so bad we have to like make it so that the opponent can just have better stats than them. I mean, they could do that. I don't know. I'm not too big on this one. I just thought it was interesting because it's like something they haven't done before. Well, they've kind of actually. It's kind of almost like Fatal Smoke, where they make it activate during combat.
Yeah, the only thing, and this, I was actually thinking about this exact thing. If they had what you were talking about with the next version of Pulse Smoke was the pulse before Dimitri hit, then that would be like, if you're including that in here, suddenly this becomes an S tier skill. If you're just talking about the standard effects, like the stuff we just talked about, then I think we're talking about like a low A. Yeah,
I think I agree. Yeah, it is interesting though. I've been trying to with Elgard and with DTM. You know, I love DTM, I love Elgard, but my heart wasn't as full into it as Dimitri. I've been sitting here thinking about crazy things for weeks now. And speaking of crazy things, I just thought this one's really nuts. So you played Three Hopes, right?
Yes.
Okay, you remember how like Dimitri could do like the Thunder Wave and it just like did massive AoE damage everywhere?
Yes.
What if they made it so that Atrocity's true damage acted like an AoE before combat?
So you're saying that they would design him like he was originally meant to be and make up to us all of the pain they caused.
But just imagine 20. What's his attack stat? Like 70 around there?
Yeah.
And 25% of that before combat.
I'm gonna be honest. Like, to me, that's an S+ skill.
I think so too. It'd be cool, right? That'd be so cool. You just run in, like, cause a wave of damage and then kill things.
Would it be unique to him, and it wouldn't require a whole bunch of cooldown? Like, I mean, you're just adding this. Yeah, this has got to be an S+ skill. That would be absolutely phenomenal.
I think so too. And it would be so cool. Like, it would just be like one of the coolest things ever. Especially if they made like a lightning effect on it. They probably wouldn't go that far, but like that would be really awesome. I'd be so happy with that. Okay, speaking of lightning, what if they made it so there was a lightning terrain? I don't know what that would do. I didn't think that far, but what if he like put a lightning terrain either down after combat or before combat, and that somehow like either made him do more damage or made the enemy take more damage? I don't know.
I like it. Can you change it from lightning terrain to like when he attacks, like weeds pop up?
We don't want to distract Dimitri with being hungry. So I don't know if we could do that one, but that would be really funny. After combat, grass grows and Dimitri gets health back because he eats grass.
I'm here for that. That's. I love terrain effects though. I think they are very good because they benefit the entire team. Like it's not just something that's benefiting Dimitri. To me, that's an S tier. I'm trying to think of where in S though. Like it depended on how powerful it was. I think it would be below effective damage, but that's about where I'm thinking.
Okay, I think so too. I think effective damage is like, especially combined with other things, effective damage is really scary. Like imagine if they give him effective damage and the 25% true damage. Like that's a lot of damage. Okay, let's talk about a more boring one, but one that is decently good. It's okay, and that's full no follow-up. Now, I think we both know no follow-up is pretty common in the meta right now. So how are you feeling on this one?
I'm putting it in B tier right away, just because you can farm this out, and you use this great term, and this was months ago when you used it, but it just blew my mind, and it was the refined economy. Like there's a certain value, like you could probably put a value on each of these, and that would, are you going to use that value on something that you can farm out? And I mean, the answer to me is definitely not. Especially, I mean, Valencia just came out, and there's another unit that just gives it out. So I like B and probably low B, just because I don't want to waste his refine on something like that. Completely
agree. I think like sometimes it's nice because you can be lazy, but like it's really not worth it overall. It's better just to get it outsourced from somewhere else, get you more effects going. Okay, let's talk about another interesting one. I don't know what to call this, but I call it Special Jump. It's really a bad name, but it's essentially the effect we've seen on like, Duo Ike introduced it. We've also seen it on Brave Robin, right, with the Rally Spectrum, where essentially you get cooldown before your first attack.
I'm okay with it, and obviously on Robin it was really, really good. I think the the application was so much better there. One of the good things about Robin, though, is he gives it to everyone else as well. I'm struggling there. Like, to me, it's probably top of A. How are you feeling about it, though?
Yeah, I'm thinking like top or middle of A. Because the thing is with Dimitri, like, I think you only use this really in an offensive build. Typically, if you're going for like a more like, Godlance build, you really want Vital Astra pre-charged, or you want Godlike Reflexes looping. So I don't think this is like the best effect, unless it could maybe activate before the foe's first attack, and that way you can make sure Godlike Reflexes first charged. But even then, I don't know if it's that amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll put like mid A or something. Okay, here's another one about specials, and I think this one's it used to be really exciting, but it's not as exciting anymore, and that's Special Acceleration.
This is another thing that I feel like can be farmed out even to the point of putting it on a C skill.
Exactly.
I mean, yeah, we have that pledge skill that is really, really good. I've been doing sims with it lately, and it is phenomenal. And as soon as I can, I am foddering off my spare Alir to some fodder factory to start getting that out. But
same. It is so good. I think this one's low for me. I think this is almost a C, or like a very low B.
I'd put it in C, like top of C, very top of C, but it's still down there.
Yeah, I can't believe they made it on a C skill. That's kind of insane. Even though it's on a Lear, which you don't necessarily want to kill, but you can, right? And because it's Dimitri, I will definitely do it. Okay, let's talk about a really crazy one, and that is a Brave Weapon. Yes, we have to include the Brave Weapon in every single tier list because it is insane. And oh man, do I want this. Do I think it will happen? Probably not. But man, IS, come on, throw me a bone.
It's always S+. Always.
Yeah, easy.
There are so many things, especially if it's dual phase.
Exactly.
I mean, we have seen units that are mediocre stick around for a long time because they have dual phase Brave. And so many skills you can add on to them and supports. And yeah, I mean, it's fantastic. S+.
I think the other thing too is like, it's become even better on like Omni tanks right now, or like, God Sword or God Lance. Like, I think the reason why Alir is probably the best Omni tank in the game right now is just because there's a good chance you're never hitting her twice. Like, even if you outspeed her, you hit her once and then she just blows you up. And so having that Brave Weapon really makes it so you can win a lot of matchups that you really shouldn't. And I think that's the same thing with like Legendary Self. One of the reasons why Legendary Self is so good right now is the combination of that Brave Weapon, having true damage, and null C. It just makes it so that whatever attacks into him typically dies, unless there's like a Catria behind him.
Well, I mean, look at Bridal Catria. Like, think of how many units that makes good. And
exactly.
Yeah, I mean, that's as far. We all have intimate experience with Catria just beating the crap out of us.
Catria PTSD. Oh man. Okay, speaking of Seliph, how do you feel about NCD? Because NCD is an interesting one. Like, if you want to go for a tank build, it's pretty good on him because he can't really swap out his B. So like, giving him NCD in his weapon is good. But at the same time, I feel like it's a little bit less flexible, right? It makes it like so. It kind of puts him into that Godlance role no matter what, where instead you could kind of like flex him into other things. You know what I mean?
This one's tough because there's really only one way to get it, and that's through that B skill or through a preference weapon. Like those are your two avenues. So and I'm not sure. This is another thing that for this unit in particular, for most units, I would be very excited about this, but this is probably like top of A for me. I think it would be really good, and I wouldn't complain, but it's an avenue that I'm not sure I really want to go down with Legendary Dimitri. I really like that hit and sit style that he really encourages. So it's okay. A is still very good, right? How are you feeling about it?
That's exactly how I feel. Because like me and you, when you play Dimitri, like I really love flexing the aggressiveness. I want to run at you with Dimitri and murder something, and then afterwards, right after I murdered everyone and everyone's intimidated and smoked down, then they just die on Dimitri, right? That feels good. And I kind of want him to keep along that playstyle, like you were saying. And I don't really want him to go like too far into like just sitting there and waiting for people to attack him. You know what I mean? I want to kill things.
We have a Brave Dimitri, like, and he's fun.
Exactly.
Like, we love our Brave Dimitri. We're looking for something a little different, though.
Right. Okay, I'm putting a top A, like you're saying. Good effect, just not my preferred effect. Okay, let's do another one that's not the most exciting, but how do you feel about improved conditions for atrocity? Because right now it's like, it's a decent condition. It's like, foe has to be 50% HP or higher. But how would you feel if it just removed the condition and it was just like, you get true damage?
So this is, I think it's important. I think it's a little bit boring, but I do think it's important because if they don't get that crazy S plus AoE damage, I think one of the big ways you can use this unit is through AoEs, and that I think that's a big thing that you can. Any unit that you can have multiple uses for, I mean, that is a good unit to invest in, and that's one of the great things about Dimitri is that he has a lot of different facets. I think this would add a facet to him, and I'm still putting it in A, and I mean, honestly, it would probably be above special jump, but yeah. It's important. It's just I would not be just incredibly excited.
Exactly. But I think sometimes you need boring effects. I think that's like one of the things that a lot of people underestimate is like sometimes you want the crazy stuff, but you also just want a few effects that support the character overall and make them a little bit better. Okay, here's one that I think I really want to see. I don't know if we'll get it, but I want DR piercing. I think Dimitri, like, it just suits Dimitri's personality. Like, I know Byleth has it, but like Dimitri kills things. That's what he does. And so being able to just smash through DR, even DR having, I think we'll just put both of them up at the same time. So DR having or DR piercing, how would you feel about one of those two?
DR piercing, like pure DR piercing, is probably S plus. Like, it's really, really powerful. As far as DR having would probably be somewhere in the S tier. But I think for especially for Dimitri's playstyle, I think DR piercing would be really, really good on him.
I completely agree. I mean, even if it's special based DR piercing, I think it's good. If it's Nana DR piercing, it's insane, and like I'm gonna cry because I'll be so happy. We haven't seen that yet.
That's what I want is Nana level DR piercing. That is exactly what I was thinking.
We can DR piercing AoE damage brave effect. Come on, IS. It's not that much. We'll put this one here. Oh man, I could see the Elgar fans seething if we got that. I'd be so happy. Okay, let's do another a little bit more boring one, but I think this could be good. I don't know if they'll double dip like this, but how do you feel about speed-based true damage in this weapon?
And well, we've seen this before. We've seen both true damage from the weapon and the special.
Right.
I'm probably okay. Does it stack off of AoEs? Like, can you use it on AoEs?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, that would be nice. I would like that. Like that would. Whenever it works with AoEs, it's such a good feeling. Like, it just lets you have like a whole new build you can use, and it's like good. You know what I mean? And I think people really underestimate how much like 20% true damage is on an AoE. It's massive.
Seriously. Yeah. If it's with AoEs, I'd probably put it S. If it's not, I'm probably dropping it all the way down to A. How are you feeling?
I think I agree. I think we'll put it. Let's put it at the bottom of S, just because like it's the middle, right? Like it could be higher if it has the AoE. If it doesn't, it's lower. That's kind of where I'm at. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, let's do some other ones. Let's do this one's kind of more anti-meta than anything. I don't know if it really. Maybe it kind of fits his personality, and that's Feud. How would you feel if Dimitri's just like, I'm gonna 1v1 you solo, no feud, like just Dimitri, Branding Bond feud effect where it just turns off everything?
I didn't have a very high opinion on feud until I did that episode on Lyn, on Legendary Lyn. And I could not believe how that effect is so anti-meta. Like, it is big right now. It's probably, for me, it's like top half of S, like very good. It's not Brave effect good, but it would be a very nice thing to have. How are you feeling about it?
I agree. Like, oh man, there's so many crazy supports out there right now, and like being able to just turn them off is like so strong, and it also catches people off guard. Like, I know that it shouldn't, but people just, when you're playing like SD or some other modes, a lot of times you just don't have enough brain capacity to take in everything that's going on. And being able to just run at somebody and be like, nah, your Fallen Maria doesn't do anything, and they just get blown up, it's really good.
Oblivion, what are you talking about? It shouldn't. You've seen the length of these descriptions now. They're nuts. They're absolutely insane. It is no surprise that folks can't keep a track of everything that's going on.
Right, right. I mean, yeah, that's fair. They need to really like find a way to like shorten those down a little bit, but that's a whole different conversation that we could talk about for a very long time. So I'm thinking like, do you think like behind DR having or above DR having?
I'm thinking above DR having, honestly.
Okay. We're talking a little bit more about a God Lance Dimitri, and I think one of the things that you really want as an Omni Tank or a God Sword or whatever is you want some kind of form of non-pierceable DR. And I think one of the ways that Dimitri could do that is like through godlike reflexes. So how do you feel about like a pulse effect, like a times pulse effect or something like that, or like anti-guard or tempo, like one of those effects that can like really let him loop, you know what I mean?
I feel like this is another one of those categories where we're talking a lot about like things that are good in conjunction. Like you can make a very cohesive unit that those are just a huge portion of. I think they are, to me, they're probably in that A range. I think they're under special jump because special jump is kind of incredible. It's a better version of those.
Right.
But if it's full tempo, there's an added effect there where it doesn't let the other person. But anyway, they're probably all in that A range behind special jump.
Okay. Yeah, I kind of agree. Like I think a defensive tempo has actually gone up in value a little bit. Before I used to say like it wasn't really worth the like refined budget. But now there's so many heroes who rely on special acceleration to actually get their specials off, like Legendary Hinoka, right? Hinoka, if you have a way to stop that from happening, she hits way less hard. She still hits hard, but she doesn't hit like ridiculous levels. And I think having that full defensive tempo on a unit who isn't like an infantry beast can be good. I'm just afraid of how much of the weapon refinement takes up.
Yeah, the other problem is we have units like Claude that just say, oh, by the way, you get lethality. And we've seen like the best tempo is Lucia.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I should have made an effect that just says beats Claude. Like stops Claude from make the Lucia effect. Okay, this one's boring, but it's important. And I really want to hear your take on this. And that's bonus stats. And I don't mean like the extra bonus stats we know he's gonna get. I mean like the like insane stats like we've seen on like Summer Shamir, we've seen on like even Winter Black Knight, like all those like effects that are like, hey, have plus 10 attack and speed or something like stupid like that.
I think every Feytuber learned a very valuable lesson from Legendary Robin. And that's we say stats don't mean anything, but that's not true. Like small stat boosts don't mean anything. Like or they mean less. Like but big stat boosts, I mean, I'm looking at this and actually, I might have it right where you're putting it in Est right there, right behind DR having.
Okay.
That feels about right to me. Is that about where you're feeling? What kind of crazy stats are you talking about?
Right, that's the thing. I feel like that's probably where I'd put it at, because like the thing is Dimitri is a speed-based unit, unless they're not going to change that. I highly doubt they're going to change that. If he gets a Brave effect, speed does matter a little bit less, but even so, like you really want a way to have a ton of speed, and not plus 10. Like you want like some ridiculous stuff.
So a Lear level speed, yeah.
Right, exactly. Or like even like stupid Summer Shamir who keeps running into a Discord, where it's just like all the stat bonuses you don't expect. And so I think it's around there. Speaking of stats, so I think there's another effect that really people are sleeping on, and that is lull or dull effect. I think this is one of the biggest stat swings you could possibly get. And it's the reason why Arcane Lewin is actually so ridiculously good in my opinion.
Okay, this one's tough for me, and I may need your help on this one because there is a very specific thing that this does, and it combats your raid bosses in SD, which is huge. And I mean, that's looking at this. That is one of the things we're asking this unit to do. Like I'm looking at these effects and how we're talking about it. And there's this whole thing where we would like him to be able to basically do the new AoE Gale Force thing.
Yeah.
Like, and that would be a powerful thing. But the other is to take down those raid bosses and be able to live a hit afterwards. And so that is just key to that. And I still think I've got that in S tier. Are you thinking higher for that though?
I'm thinking high S tier. That's where I'm putting. I think I put it over even terrain. Like I think it's actually that important. Like I would put it like right over here probably.
I'm with you. I was looking at possibly above effective damage, but that's probably too high. That's probably too high. So I like it right there.
Yeah, I think Lull and Dole is like really, really powerful. And I think it's one of the reasons why Altina has actually stayed good from her Refine, because like things are crazy power creep, right? But the actual Lull attack defense effect she has in her weapon is actually so good, and I think people just forget it's even there. Like it really like just gives you a giant stat advantage over your foe, and it also just robs people of like bonus doubler and stuff like that, which people like to take advantage of. So it kind of just removes that whole strategy from them. Okay, let's say, so talking about Gale Force a little bit, how do you feel about Kanto? This is a weird one. I don't know how I feel about this one. Kanto, like, I don't know if it would be a fixed Kanto or if it's like Kanto remaining like Fallen Dimitri.
I just, this is another one where I feel like there are other ways to get it. And I know it's harder to get than something where we're talking about special acceleration, but I've still got it probably low B, possibly C. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I think like maybe the top of C, maybe. I think just because like it's not like a cavalry unit where you can just put a skill in, but at the same time, it's like there's a lot of supports you get about Kanto now, which is kind of crazy to think about. That because like even just last year, Flame Tana was like insane because she gave out Kanto 1, and now there's a lot of ways to get it. Okay, this one's interesting. And I think it's kind of like a more meta subject, but Unity. So Unity stacking was like the most dominant thing ever in the meta. It's slowing down quite a bit, I would say now. It's still really strong, but there are direct counters to it. So how are you feeling about a Unity effect?
Okay, and I'm projecting a little bit here. And think about the fact that in the course of what has been 6 weeks, we've gotten 2 of the skills that counter Unity.
Yep.
2. Like I feel like they have shown a commitment to, and really they're targeting grand strategy. Let me be clear, not Unity, but exactly. That's, grand strategy is a key piece to this.
Yeah,
I feel like they're going to show a commitment to stopping these kinds of strategies. I've got it right now in low A, but that's projecting out. Like there is a possibility that the bleeding has stopped, and that's all they're going to do is these skills, and that's it. So, but right now, like. Maybe low A is too low. Maybe like mid A. But that's, I mean, yeah, that's about where I have it. Probably low A though. I'm thinking low A. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm thinking like either mid or low A too. Like maybe above Times Pulse. I think I'd put it at because he doesn't really need Times Pulse all that much.
Yeah,
I think like maybe like right here. I think man, they have really smacked Unity in the face. And I was really hoping that Unity would just last until Fallen Out Guys Refine, and I can make a video, and then after that they can nerf it, right? I don't care. But like, but they couldn't wait. They're like, no.
Now, I'll say this: Unity hasn't fallen as much as people think it has.
Right, exactly.
In the Discord they were talking about there were a lot of folks who didn't see a single legendary Robin on in their defense replays, which is crazy.
That is crazy.
So folks, he hasn't completely fallen off the board. He's just started to fall.
Right, I still think he's like one of the best units in the game. It's just that there is a counter, and it's a scary counter.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got one more boring one, and that's Guard. And Guard is such a weird one, because Guard is actually really good. But like, it's such a boring effect. But like, there's just not that many ways to get it on infantry, where like, other than running Guard itself, which you just don't want to do ever, right? So, how do you feel about Guard?
It's interesting, and I feel about the same way that I do with bonus stats. We don't particularly love it because it's like you said, it's a little bit boring. I went and looked at the number of units I had in my barracks that could give out Guard, and it was like, as far as the meta units that I'd want on my team, it was very hard to find one. Like
exactly.
I think Caden was one of them, which is just crazy.
Yep.
It's still not just game breaking though, and I can't quite put it in S tier. I do think it's an A tier. I don't think it falls as low as B.
Okay.
Where do you think it is in A though?
I think it's like the end of A. Personally, I was thinking like a high B or low A. That's where I was putting it at. It's a good effect. It's a really good effect. It's just like it depends. It's better when you were trying to go for that Godlance build, right? You want Guard there. But if you're going for anything else, it doesn't really offer all that much. Because with the Gale Force, you're typically not running like into units who are going to blow you up with a counterattack. Not too often, I'd say. So it doesn't really do much there. So I think it's decent, but I don't think it's like the effect we're looking for.
Let's put it in a high B then, like above +1 movement, but I high B.
Okay. And I saved the last effect, and this is because it's not really an exciting effect. But I want us to just think about it for a second, because it would be stupidly broken. And I love the idea of having a stupidly broken Dimitri. And that would be true damage plus flat damage reduction, right? What if they were like, hey, you know what? Brave Dimitri is really cool. But what if we have speed-based Brave Dimitri? Huh? Just,
I love it. That's so much fun. And again, like what we're talking about here, like being able to just absolutely smash someone and them not being able to take you out in one hit.
Right.
Like that's huge. Jeez. In those, I mean, it's S+. Where in S+, like, I still think Brave Effect is better. Like, are you putting it above or behind DR Piercing?
I think I'm putting it above DR Piercing. And the reason why is because I think a lot of people... So Diamant was a very big lesson to the entire community, I think, in my opinion. Where, like, flat damage reduction, which is, like, preaches the best thing ever. But it didn't really give you, like, the full picture of, like, why it's good, right? The reason why it's good is because you can stack it with other things.
Yeah.
And Legendary Dimitri is the perfect unit for flat damage reduction. And the reason for that is very simple. He has DR in his weapon. You can get DR in his special slot from Battle Astra or Godlike Reflexes. So you can either have pierceable DR or non-pierceable DR in his special slot. You could get it in his C slot with Speed Smoke. And then if you also have true damage, flat damage reduction as well, he's going to be really, really hard to kill, especially because he's fast, so it's not easy to double, and you can just give him no follow-up, right? I think it would make him, like, kind of broken. I think if they ever do true damage and flat damage based off speed, I think that unit's just going to be completely busted.
I completely agree. Yeah, let's put it above DR Piercing. That sounds excellent.
Okay. I was hoping for Felix to have this, but it didn't happen, so... Dimitri, I'll take that too.
Okay, we need to play a game now.
Okay.
Like, we're looking... That's the last one, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You can pick one from S+, S, and A. And then we'll say 3 from B and C. What are you taking?
Okay, so from S+, I'm taking Brave. Like 100%. From S, I'm taking... Oh, man. With the Brave weapon, I think we need DR Having. And then from A, I'm taking... This is so boring, but I'm taking Improved Conditions. I think that's just needed, right? Like, you have two crazy effects, and then you need something to support those two crazy effects. That's kind of where I'm at. And if I were to take one from the lower ones, it would probably just be, like, improving his speed-based damage reduction. I think that could be, like, pretty solid overall. It just, like, synergize really well.
I've got to take that AoE damage. I
so cool.
love that. That's so cool. And if we could do that, and I mean, the DR Having again is just so good there. I'd be tempted to do the bonus stats, but I think AoE, DR Having, from that last one, that's tough. Like, can I, if we do the special jump, can it apply to the AoE? Oh wait, no, that's AoE damage without having a special. Oh, okay, definitely special jump along with that too.
Okay.
And then the last one would probably be Kanto.
Kanto's cool, dude. Like, Kanto just makes the unit more fun to play with, in my opinion. Like, it just makes him so mobile. I love it. It's like one of the reasons why I love putting Eliwood on like every single raid boss team. Because I'm like, okay, I could just run around, smash people, and then also get out sometimes. It's very, very nice.
Yeah, this is gonna be fun though. I cannot wait for this to hit.
I know. I'm scared, but I'm also very, very, very excited. Is there any other effect you can think of that you think Dimitri would really love?
Well, I mentioned on the podcast the stupid, like, making him a beast unit, which is unrealistic as all get out, but that'd
be cool though.
Yeah, and making weird conditions and once his what did you say? Once his HP goes under a certain threshold, then he becomes a beast unit. Like,
that'd be so. I wonder if they could synergize that with Atrocity. Like okay, like you're above 50% HP, Atrocity's active. Under 50% HP, you turn to a beast and Atrocity doubles. Like, you're just destroying things. That'd be so cool. Hire me. Let me dev 2. It would be great.
It would be great. That kind of thing won't happen. But,
no.
but that's in my mind, like, that would be really neat.
Yeah.
I was wondering about something playing with Scowl. And that's kind of like what we were talking about in the vein of pre-smoke. Like if you could, before Dimitri hits, it gives special one cooldown, +1 cooldown to the enemy.
Right.
Or -1 cooldown. Yeah, that's the way you say it. So and kind of having the reverse of Scowl, I think would be really neat. That's something that I don't think they've played with yet, but yeah.
Right.
And I mean, the other thing is there are so many things we could look at for the terrain.
Right.
Like, you mentioned the lightning effect. I can just imagine how cool that would look.
It would be so cool. It would be. I'd be so happy with that. And then, what would you do if you play? Oh, you can't play Flare Sparrow on him. Never mind. So you have like 2 terrain effects going off. They just keep overriding each other. Oh man. But yeah, that's our list right here. Our refined list. I would love to hear what everyone thinks about this. What effects do you really want to see on Legendary Dimitri? Like, are these the effects you want to see? Is there some other effect you really, really want to see on him? And do you think they'll fix his art? That's why. Just put his lance in his hand, please, IS, please. But yeah, I just want to thank you so much for jumping on, Joel, so we could discuss Dimitri. As you know, are 2 of the biggest Dimitri fans on YouTube. I'm gonna say that. Somebody's gonna get mad at me and show me their like 500 Dimitri videos, but I think hopefully we gave a good representation for Dimitri.
Not at all. Like, link us in the comments.
Yes, actually,
link your Dimitri videos. We watch them. We really do.
We do. DTM showing us his Elgar videos. I'm like, no. We need Dimitri videos. Yeah, thank you so much for joining me. Is there anything else you want to say?
No, guys. These go so smoothly because Oblivion is so good at putting them together. So he's got members up. I am a member, and he's got a fantastic area where you can chat with him. He's very active there. Super chats are always appreciated, and yeah, you guys are amazing.
Thank you so much, Joel. And if you somehow haven't checked out Fehology yet, definitely go check him out. He has amazing videos every single month going over the meta, going over all the banners, and join his Discord. I'm on his Discord. That's where my channel's at, and it's just an amazing place to come and talk about Feh.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Of course, of course. If you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe, not only to my channel, but to Fehology's as well. And as always, I'd like to thank my members for all their constant support. Thank you so much for checking out this video, and go check out Fehology's channel. Bye, everybody.
Take care.